But right now I want to talk about strict liability, which is another measure of responsibility of a company or an individual. Now in this case, you don't have to establish that an individual or corporation was negligent, that they failed to use reasonable care, because there are some situations in which an individual or a company will be held to be strictly liable. That is, there is no defense to their conduct. And I'll give you just a hypothetical example. If an individual gave a loaded gun to an 11-year-old boy and told him it was perfectly okay to go shoot the gun, and he shot and killed somebody, the owner would be strictly liable because he entrusted this dangerous instrument to a child. It's called strict liability. There are different ways in which strict liability can apply in products liability cases and other cases, but when you hear that statement made by somebody in the law, strict liability means that you're responsible and you don't have to prove negligence. The act itself is established to be the responsibility of the actor, and that could be a person or a corporation. In the course of a trial, you have the presentation of the negligent act or the strict liability act or an intentional act. An intentional act obviously would hold a person responsible if you go up and you just strike somebody in the face for no reason at all. You're responsible because you have engaged in an intentional act, and so you don't have to prove negligence or strict liability. The person's responsible because of the nature of what they've done, an intentional act. But in the course of a trial, you have to establish one of these principles to establish fault. That is, that a person was either negligent, strictly liable, or was an intentional act in order for a person to be liable. Then, after you do that, you would go into the injury portion or the accidental death or whatever occurs.